Welcome back to the planet Arrakis. It is an unusually cool and rainy day out here, but you know, we're out here anyway having a good time. It's actually a beautiful day for off-roading.
Yeah, great day.
We are here to talk about the Falken A T3W. I have 305 65 18s on my truck. What do you have?
285 70 17s, pretty sure.
So these are kind of the usual standard level and big tire on a mid-sized vehicle.
Yeah,
thing,
it's like
so.
rounds out to just about a 33, I think.
Yeah, I think mine is like a 33.6 or something like that. So like a big 33 or something, but I also have a full-size truck. Regardless, Falken A3W, they're good. End video. That's it. We're done. All right, see you guys. Bye.
We did. Yeah, our work here is done.
Our work here is done. So there's not much to complain about the Falkens. They're just good all-around tire. Yeah, they're an AT, sort of. I mean, they used to be a hybrid. Back in the day, we had the AT01, which was Falken's baseline, you know, all-terrain tire, and that thing was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very highway friendly, very tame.
Very tame. Not to say that the AT3Ws are bad on the highway. They're actually really great on the street. They're very quiet, and then they come out here and they rip. I mean, we've been zipping around here 40, 45 miles an hour all day. And they haven't let us down yet. Both of ours are E-rated. Maybe somebody with C's will have a little bit more trouble, but regardless, you know, it's a great tire, quiet, good grip on this type of silty dirt stuff. It has good grip on rock. It has good grip on snow. It has decent grip on wet rock, though probably you're looking more like trying to do an MT at that point, especially if you have a crawl rig. But
yeah,
for average overland and off-road dude, hard to argue against the Falkens.
Yeah, it's the ideal weekend warrior tire for sure. You know, like if you're out mud bogging, obviously this isn't for you. So you know, don't sweat it.
Watch
Move
some
into
other
MTs.
watch some other video. You're gonna be bored anyway.
But yeah, I mean, if you're like us and these vehicles are your daily driver and you're trying to get out and camp and run around on the weekends or head out to the lake or, you know, just run some like desert trails and washes, you're not going to have a problem. In fact, we haven't really had a reason to even put stuff into four-wheel drive today. There's like one or two little obstacles for funsies or put it in four-wheel, but you know, rest of the time, two-wheel drive will get you through a lot, and there's plenty of room to air down with these two, especially because we're not running 22s. We're both on 17s or 18s. Is that what
I'm on 18s, but I got a pretty decent sidewall.
Yeah.
So I don't even think I air down, but I also have a true track because I'm awesome. True track of 411s will take you a long way, regardless of tire.
It does a lot, especially for an F-150.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's a little bit of a chunky gal, so I didn't get to have some of the obstacle fun that Mr. Noah did. So. In any case, Falken AT3Ws, they're great. They're also 3-peak mountain snow rated. I mean, we're in Arizona, so the chances of us using them in snow are slim, at least down here in Phoenix area. Maybe we'll make a special trip up to Flagstaff or someplace where we can rip those things around, give them a proper go in the snow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just hard to argue against this tire, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, is it aggressive enough to go off-road? You need an RT or a hybrid or an MT. It's like, no, you don't. A solid, E-rated, all-terrain, hybridish type tire will take you a long way, even out here, even with what we're doing. Go out and have fun. The wilderness is for everybody.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier, so in terms of drawbacks, you know, it's obviously no tire is perfect or no part is completely perfect. You're saying,
at least not for everybody.
Yeah, certainly not for everybody. You know, the Wild Peak sidewall tread pattern is not ultra aggressive. It's fairly tame compared to some of the other equivalent options. So
Nitto people weep and moan and cry about this tire because you know Nittos have a lot of sidewall like tread and stuff going on. They look like a very mean tire. Granted, this thing will probably outperform any Terra Grappler any day of the week.
Yeah, not been super impressed with the Terra Grapplers, to be honest. But yeah, so I mean, if you like that look or you are a fan of the more aggressive sidewalls, then sure, this might be a little bit of a nick. And then the other thing is tires are really expensive, and the Falkens have not gotten cheaper, especially as more and more people realize that it's a real solid all-terrain that performs a little bit above its weight. So, you know, I have always been a longtime fan of the BF Goodrich KO2s, and I've ran those on plenty of other builds in the past, but this does tend to be a bit cheaper than the KO2 and certainly performs at the same level as that tire. So if you're a BF Goodrich fanboy like I am, I think this is probably worth taking a look at.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I mean, like maybe, hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of good tires out there too, especially with even all-terrains are getting more aggressive, and then and even hybrids are getting more aggressive. The Falken RT is looking pretty interesting as far as maybe a step up from this before the mud terrain.
Yeah.
And then Mickey Thompson has a lot of good options now with the Boss ATs and then the Legend EXPs, even though those tires, I don't really see the distinction because
Yeah,
one's an all-terrain and then one's a hybrid for whatever reason. But I'd be very interested in trying those Mickey Thompson.
And to Nitto's credit, the Recon Grappler is actually pretty solid. That tire I do like. So, you know, they've got some wins in there for sure.
Yeah, it is very interesting how tires have kind of skewed more aggressive over the last couple of years, because it used to be you had your all-terrains, then you had your MTs, and there was a huge gulf between that. I mean, look at a Terra Grappler versus a Mud Grappler. Huge. Look at a Toyo AT2 versus a Toyo MT. I mean, so there did need to be something in between. AT3Ws are a good choice for that in between. You know, the Mickey Thompson Baja ATZ was a good choice. Those are now discontinued, being replaced by the other two we just mentioned. Like I said, there's not a lot wrong with his tires, and we're not shilling for Falken. They have no idea who we are. Granted, if you want to send me one tire, I do need one for the front right. Just saying.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get. One tire's plenty. That'll do. Plenty. That'll get us through the next video.
All right, that's all we have for you on Falken AT3Ws. Good tire, seriously. Like, there's not much to complain about. Now, if you do need something more chunky like an MT, you're going to be in the MT world. That's a whole other ball game. But for a solid hybrid AT, Falken AT3W, go for it.
Yep.